This afternoon, KAIROS, the representative from KAIROS, came up and was talking a lot about their work with Indigenous people of Canada, and we did this thing called the blanket exercise, and he called up a volunteer, so I went up there, and I was very curious because I remember learning about, you know, how the European settlers came over and how all those treaties were signed in history class, which was always boring and kind of made me fall asleep, but I felt like I was living it. He got us to stand on these blankets that represented Canada before the Europeans got there, and all the blankets were nicely laid out.
The colonial government adopted policies and practices to take your land. Some was taken in war. A lot more, since it was taken without any right or justification, was stolen by the government. Some of it was taken by force, which led some of you to being killed. Without access to the land, you could no longer practice your traditional lifestyles. Many of you lost your culture and language. Some of you lost all hope and a reason to live. Any policy direction pursued by the governments of Canada for more than 150 years has been wrong. Successive governments, it goes on, have tried to absorb Aboriginal peoples into Canadian society, thus eliminating them as distinct peoples. Policies pursued over the decades have undermined and almost erased Aboriginal cultures and identities. This is assimilation.
It was quite a powerful expression of and visual expression of what European society has done to our First Nations brothers and sisters. I think that in many ways it's been very subtle but very devastating.
Walking around on the blankets, reading all the different places that they were from, you know, you felt like there was this enormous place, and as they folded up the blankets to see how those enormous communities, you know, before the European came along, got smaller and smaller, and then to look at a map of Canada now and see, you know, how we've taken over and they are just in these little chunks of areas so I enjoyed the presentation very much. Very powerful.